Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman, and today I got a real treat for you. Her name is Shahad Mohammed, and she is the Assistant Director of Public Works, Transportation, and Capital Development for the beautiful city of Duncanville in Texas. Shahad, say what's up to everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. So you got this long title. It sounds like you got a ton of stuff going on. Give us kind of a 30,000 foot view of what you're over, kind of what all reports to you, and then we'll dive in deeper.
I'm Shahad Mohammed, and as you mentioned, I'm the Assistant Director of Public Works. But under the Public Works umbrella in the City of Duncanville, we have so many basically departments or smaller divisions. So it's streets and transportation, it's capital development, it's water utilities, it's code enforcement and neighborhood services, and it's also building inspection, fleet management, and facilities maintenance. All of these departments are under the umbrella of Public Works in the city of Duncanville. So that's what we oversee in Public Works.
Okay. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of Shahad's day. Like from the time you get to the office to the time you leave the office, what are you doing all day? Are you in meetings or are you out in the field? Like what does it look like?
No, it's not really. I just basically go to the office in the morning. I do a lot of meetings, like so many meetings, day in and day out, to the point sometimes I don't have enough time to do, emails or work any documents and reports, which I have to do extra hours to do sometimes, and get home and do it with my tea and sit on my computer and work through things. So lots of meetings, but we do have like personnel conversations and in person, and we do have sometimes plan reviews, and I get a call and I go to the site. So it's just pretty flexible. I mean, it's not necessarily a specific rigid schedule that I do follow every single day at all.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about how you got into this industry. I like to know people's career path because I imagine somebody out there is listening to this episode and they want to be like you one day. They want to be in the position that you're in one day and kind of follow your career path. So give us from high school Shahad all the way up until today.
All right. So I have basically I'm a civil engineer, but I not necessarily wanted to be a civil engineer, to be honest with you. Growing up, I was an A plus student, in every school activity and everything. And my parents, just typically they just have expectations, and you got to be a doctor or an engineer. And especially from the culture I'm originally from, it's just like that. If you're not a doctor or an engineer or maybe a lawyer, you're just haven't done enough, So there was this expectation all the time, and they called me a doctor. Like everybody called me a doctor in the family, because I would go in the summer, spend time with my dad's friend and her pharmacy. I would learn medicine, and I would know the medicines, okay, and all of that. So everybody was excited, a doctor. And when you're in an elementary age, you're just excited. Yeah, I want to be a doctor. Everybody wants to be a doctor or the police or whatever. So, and over time, I started to feel like I don't want to be a doctor and I don't want to be an engineer. As I grew up, I just felt like I wanted to do something different, which is at that time, my interest was to travel. So I wanted to be a pilot or any cabin crew member. So and then at that time, I guess when I shared that with my parents, given that I finished high school with a very high GPA, they were in a complete shock. So it was a disappointment, and I didn't want to be really disappointing my parents. I love them so much. So I ended up really saying, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do I'm going to try engineering and I want to do a scholarship. So as long as I'm traveling, so I ended up having a scholarship, and I went to UK and I did a student exchange. So for in engineering, so there was that college of engineering that had another one in UK. It was just like a parent university, and that's what got me interested, because I wanted to do, in something else and travel and go somewhere else and have see the other part of the world. So that's how I ended up choosing engineering and got a student exchange, went to UK, Glasgow Caledonian University. I've also graduated from there, and then just over time ended up, coming back and met my husband, and we got engaged overseas, and he lived here, so I just moved to live with him, and that's how I came to US first. I started here with the consultant side, so I've done structural EIT with a consultant in the DFW area, and I just had another project engineer position with a consultant also. And then over time, I was just interested in aviation, and I just felt like I wanted more. There was something that was missing about what I was doing. And I just found this opportunity with the Dallas Airport System. So I started with Dallas with the Department of Aviation, actually, and the engineering team. And I just progressed into getting into public works with the city of Dallas. And after that, I just become public works with the Duncanville, and that was just recent. And became a public works member. And what I like about public works, and I grew passionate about what I've done in public industry in general, and that's why I stayed with public after seeing both ends. It's just that the impact that we have on the quality of life of the people that you see and feel every day. It's just, there are two examples that I always mention, because I always remember, and it had happened in in Dallas, and it had happened in Duncanville as well, where a resident, you have a conversation with that resident. We work very closely with them, and then and they tell you a statement like, I wish to see this before I die, or I wanted to see this happen before I die. And that's a very strong statement, and it's very deep and emotional. So
yeah,
and those are the things that you go home feeling proud about, and those are the things that drive you to come the next day and do your best. So that's how I liked it.
Sure. So many questions from your career path. First off, the UK to Texas. I'm sure there's some differences there, maybe some similarities. Talk to us about, what it was like studying in the UK, about, engineering and all that. And then now being in Texas and working in the field, like what are some things that translated, some things that didn't translate?
Sure. So I didn't do all of my study completely, all of my years of studies in UK, but I've also experienced it. And even coming from, the Middle East, or from the Arab world, it's completely different too. So that's both of them. I mean, you're talking about different perspective, moving around the world and living in different countries. It's exciting. It's different for sure. Early, when you do that move and you take that step, you feel just some discomfort, because you don't really immediately blend or understand everything surrounding you, from the rules and everything. And if we're talking engineering, that's different too. I mean, you go to England and you study engineering, and you learn their metrics and everything, and that's completely different from here. So I didn't learn what I did here at all in school, aside from principles for sure. But the metrics and everything, you gotta learn it. I had to relearn all of that here when I first came in, and I wanted to work here. So, and then the culture and even the accent, getting into the UK and seeing those people and going on the streets and talking to them was also a problem, because I'm like, we would ask for wayfindings and we would never understand, are they talking English? Like I speak English, but this is not English, that I learned. So and then over time you hear them multiple times and you know how they pronounce the things and you understand them, and that's how it is again when I started over here. And it's been a beautiful journey, added to me a lot, and I like it. I do feel it's beautiful, and it really added to who I am.
Sure,
Today.
sure. European football or American football? What do you prefer?
European football, the real football. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, I do like soccer.
Okay.
So I'm a fan
Likewise.
for soccer.
Likewise.
Yes.
I watch more soccer nowadays
Mhm.
than the NFL. I played football in college, and I don't like to watch it. I watch soccer nowadays. That's
Yeah.
why I had to ask. You talked about travel. One of my passions in life. How do you scratch your travel itch today? I know you had a bug or you had an itch earlier in life, but how do you scratch your travel itch today?
How do I do the travel? You
No,
mean?
like how do you kind of like do travel? Because you said you were
Yeah.
interested in yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a chance, obviously, it's not going to be like I hoped. And I wanted to be doing much more of that for sure. I'm just adventurous. I want to try things. I want to see the world. I want to learn cultures. I want to try foods, and cuisines. I just like that. So I think I do it when I get a chance now, because and that's maybe a little getaway into like a vacation and a summer vacation, and any possible way to do it, I would take a chance and do it. So
Cool.
we've been doing some trips.
Okay.
We
Okay.
try to change every year the location, and we try to do internal trips as well here within the country. We do something in, we do something else.
Yeah.
Again, as life allows.
I know. Likewise.
Maybe when I
We,
retire, I don't
yeah,
know. I'll try to do more.
I know we have
Maybe
three
I'll seek
children.
an early retirement.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
We have three children now, so it's tough to do anything. It's tough.
Oh, absolutely. It was easier when my son was not in school too. So now that
Yeah,
he's in school, we're tied to his schedule as well. So it's not only my schedule or my husband's schedule, it's
yeah,
our kid too. So
yeah. Speaking of public works around the world, where have you been that you would say, you know what, if I could operate like what you're doing today in that certain city or country,
I'm sorry you cut off. I couldn't hear that
um,
part.
if you could do what you're doing now with the city of
Mhm,
Duncanville,
mhm.
assistant public works director in
Uh-huh.
any other country or any other city around the world, where would you want to be?
Oh, interesting question. Um, Honestly, I never thought about it that way. Like, where would I want to do that? But if you ask me, like, where I would love to live, and maybe I would love to try living in Europe, Spain. And specifically Spain in Europe. I just find Spain, rich culturally, long history, some kind of common factors in then history between this Spain and the Arab, and it goes back way to the history to the old days and the history, which I'm interested in, that blend of cultures, and I feel like it would be fun to experience that over there. In fact, Spanish words or Spanish language has a lot of Arabic words.
Right.
So, and I'm interested in that language too. I want to learn that. So, I would love maybe to be in somewhere in Spain, but that's
Okay.
just probably not for the sake of doing the job itself. It's just to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I always like to talk about skill sets. Let's say somebody is asking you, they say, Shahad, what is the main skill set they should pick up to be successful at what you do today? What would that skill set be?
Hmm. I'll start with problem solving, because if you get overwhelmed when you have an email complaint from the city manager or an elected official and about something that you need to answer for, and then at the same time you have a voicemail or a message from a resident about the problem with one staff member, and a violation that was issued to them, and someone is standing on your door with the plans waiting for you to finish to review something. All of these happen at the same time. I mean, if you can't do that, that's not the job for you. So it's to begin with, you get a shift all the time. In my day, I shift all the time from something to the other, and I have to shift quickly, and I have to be able to shift my thought process and just solve problems as you go, and learn things and ask questions and answer questions also. So the second one I would think about maybe communication also. We talk, we explain things. We have to explain things all the time about what we do, why we do it. We explain it to public, we explain it to staff, we explain it to elected officials. We explain what we do all the time, and we need to do that in order to educate people about why we're doing things, and what they need to get there, and all of that. And then lastly, I would say patience. With all what I've said, I guess you can summarize that patience is the key, because again, having to explain everything and having to go through a lot of processes. I mean, we go through a lot of process here. We have in general, of course, in any city, in any local government, and probably other government entities, where definitely you're waiting for budget approvals, where you're waiting for procurement approvals, you're waiting for things to go in the process, staffing process, all kind of processes, and it's part of what we do. It's just the nature of the beast. So you have to be patient, you have to understand it, and you have to work with it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. It's story time. I need a story from Shahad when something went wrong under your watch, what you did to fix it, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
Okay. Where
You're
do I
laughing.
start? Where do I start? I say, okay. So let's talk about the famous one. So the famous one is the during my time with the Department of Aviation in the city of Dallas, the Dallas Airport System. I worked as the project manager on the 13R31L runway reconstruction with the Dallas Love Field. So that project, what did not go wrong on that project? Actually, it started on Friday the 13th. Very creepy, you know. And actually, that's maybe why it was cursed. I don't know, but actually, it happened to be, I guess, the first week that COVID-19 was officially announced in the United States.
Yeah.
So that project did not start well, and it did not get lucky because there were so many delays. So when I got into that project, I actually got into the project when it was in trouble. So it was just handed to me, okay, can you fix it? So kind of thing. So when I got in, we were already experiencing a lot of delays, very critical. So one day I get a call from the project team, and the consultant of that project was HNTB, and the contractor was Flatiron, and all of them did a great job. But funny thing, I get a call from the engineer with HNTB at that time, and he says, hey, the field operations are stopping immediately, effective immediately. And the reason why we're doing that is as we were demoing the runway, we found a bone. So I was like, a bone? So I was hoping it's like a bird bone, like a chicken bone or something.
Yeah.
It was no. They were like, no, a bigger bone, like a bone. I'm like, okay, so what are we supposed to be doing? So they're like, we're calling you to tell us what we're supposed to be doing. So basically, it's so we got the police involved. They said they found that it was a cow bone.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
they said, and I believe them.
Yeah.
I just want the project to continue. So next thing happens on that project. I get another call. Okay, we're stopping operation. What's going on? There is a bird nest and bird lay egg on that nest in one of those locations where we need to pour concrete, and we're stopping because of that. And I'm like, let's remove the bird nest and let's continue. And they're like, no, these are federally protected birds. That's my
Yeah.
first time ever hearing that. So I was like, what? So that's one other thing. We had to learn and figure out how to go through the process with it and continue operation. And other things happened. The office trailers in the gets burned. All of them. It was Saturday night. I get messages of just something burned, like pictures of a burned building. And I look at it and it's the office trailers for that project. So we just went through a lot. There was a lot of just emails back and forth, letters with the contractor, time impact analysis and response. I had a whole lot for that. And the team was like, we had to sit together. We had to work through so many things that nobody had experienced. Nobody knew what to do with in some cases, and we had to just work as a team. We had one goal. We wanted that project to get done. We were all tired of it, and we just got it through. It actually turned into a success story for all of these parties. And that project, I think, now had like awarded 4 or 5 awards minimum,
Oh,
so nationwide and local. So it went pretty well after that, and I'm
interesting.
thankful for that experience.
Yeah. It's coming from an airport. I guess what are some of the transferable skills to be an assistant public works director? Because I would think an airport is pretty niche down, pretty compartmentalized. So what are some of the things that have translated from that airport experience to what you do today?
I just feel like the aviation industry was different. It was something that is different on its own, and I learned a lot of new things over there that not typically applied where I am today in public works. But that airport being owned by the city had helped a lot because it still belonged to the city. So we had to go through the same processes for the city anyway, which was a challenge in some of the cases, but I've learned it the hard way because I've learned what we need to do with the bigger projects, with the high profile projects, with the projects that has like money impact, like, hey, your delay for 1 hour is costing us $1 million. So it's like that kind of thing. Yeah. So that was the kind of thing. And that's how intense it was for some of these projects. So we had to basically learn to just figure things out and move quick and get under pressure and work under pressure. So that's really useful here with continuing to work for another city department that is really under a lot of pressure all the time, which is also the public works department. So
Yeah, what's the scope of Duncanville? The population size, like, is it? And then I guess it leads me to my next question: what's it like working for a city like Dallas and then to a city like Duncanville?
So the city of Duncanville is around $40,000, a little more than 40. Oh, sorry, 40,000. 40,000. I said $40,000. We're talking about $1 million. So that stayed in my mind. So about 40,000 people for the population, a little more than that from the latest data, and it's a neighboring city to the city of Dallas, very close. So it is. It's growing. It's landlocked as far as land, but you got to get creative in the way it grows. and that what it means. And we're working on a lot of initiatives with the city of Duncanville for that, in that direction, where we are re-envisioning things with the city management and their new vision. And there are a lot of exciting things about what's happening with Duncanville. But talking about the shift from Dallas to Duncanville, I guess a city is a city. So you deal with the city and you deal with the same thing. Whether it's large or small, you're going through
Really?
same processes, same departments, same issues, same everything. The scale is different, of course, and but it does not change the fact that it is still a city, and that community is still as important, and you need to work as hard, and it does not change a lot on that. And in my mind, at least, that's from my perspective.
Okay. Okay. All right. How does Shahad level up? How do you get better year after year after year? Like, what's your personal and professional development regimen like?
I drink a lot of coffee, so it helps. But also, and joke aside, I do. I'm curious. I ask questions. I do try to keep myself informed about the industry and the trends and the innovation. I'm very interested in innovation and technologies, and I do support some initiatives around the DFW area where it's related to that. I have. I would attend trainings. I would attend conferences. And especially the local ones, I make sure I am there, communicating, talking, connecting with our industry and learning from them, and making sure we're up to date. And I am personally up to date in my education of what's happening and what I need to learn. I do believe that in multi function and multi-disciplinary education and knowledge. I feel like at some point it won't be enough at all to be expert in one area, and that's who just I am. So I'm always learning something else too, and I even learn from my team every single day. I tell them I'm not afraid to ask a question. I'm not going to be shy to say I don't know this. Can you explain it, how this is done here or there? Given that we just manage also multiple divisions and different areas of expertise, you need to know a lot. I don't believe in know-it-all, but I do believe in know a lot, and I work on that. I try.
Sure. Okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception about your position? Like, let's say I asked your husband's golf buddy, like, what does Shahad do all day, every day? What would he get totally wrong in answering that question?
Totally wrong in what I do every day.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like what I don't do.
Well, what they
Is that what
think
you're
you do
saying?
that you might not do, or that you
Oh,
do
what
do,
they
but
think
they have no idea.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe some people think I am probably a nerd, and I'm just, I just nerd of different things related to infrastructure and innovation and all of that. But I don't feel like I am. So I'm just curious and interested, and I'm passionate about what I do. And that's all. Also, some people might, mentioning my husband friends, they might think I'm also a little bit bossy. Maybe.
Oh,
They think I'm probably bossing everybody around all the time at home, especially. But not necessarily. So
yeah.
yes, I just take leadership in when I need to. I'm just probably naturally like that sometimes in situations,
Yeah.
stepping up and taking lead. Let's do this, let's do that. But not necessarily with the intention of bossing everybody around, and especially at home. I'm just like this little cute girl, okay, sure.
I don't buy it. I see the amount of
At least I work on that. I try.
I see the amount of Van Cleef, and I can tell you now, yeah. So, Let's talk culture a little bit. So a lot of us come from different types of families, different types of backgrounds. You
Mhm,
even said earlier that your family, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be an
mhm.
engineer. How would you advise one to deal with familial or societal pressures to go into certain industries and kind of do what they feel their family should have them do instead of what they want to do?
Honestly, I don't know. It had both sides and both end to it because it worked for me, for example, because as I mentioned, I mean earlier, I didn't want to be a civil engineer. I kind of had that influence and call it a little bit of push to be able to make my family and my parents especially happy and not disappoint them, and that's how I ended up choosing it at first. But over time, it worked for me and I ended up growing passion, and but I had to find my way on how I get passionate about it, because I told you, when I started, working for the consultant, doing an office work, and just sitting and review designs or create plan drawings wasn't I didn't feel myself enjoying that with a lot of drive, so I had to find another way for myself. But again, I am happy where I am in my career today and where I'm progressing. It might work for some people versus the others. You just have to continue finding your way through what you enjoy and what gives you the drive. Not necessarily try to impress anybody, honestly, at all. Just do it for yourself and what makes you feel proud about yourself and what makes you feel happy. I guess that's where you can
Yeah.
find your path. Is this going to be where I want what I want to do and what I want to talk to my kids and my grandkids about later, or it's not? If it's not, I'm just going to move on because that's not. I mean, your parents, with all due respect, they just not going to live your daily life, having to go through what you go through if you're not happy doing it. So, um,
That is correct. That's true. Okay. All right. Let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard. This billboard
mhm.
is in the most trafficked area of Duncanville. What ask of your community in regards to public works would you put on this billboard?
I would say, ooh, ooh, I would say we hear you, but
Interesting.
we have to hear others at the same time. We have to hear other things. And the reason I say that is because in a lot of cases in public service, and that's not only for Duncanville, but that is from experience. Um, and it's just there is this public anticipation that we're not hearing them in some cases because they don't see the whole picture of what we need to look at. What are all the factors that we need to weigh in to do something, and what are our challenges and also our typical requirements and processes in order to get something done. So it's just I mean, in public industry, in public service industry in general, I feel like it's where we do more for less, and we do more for less every single day. Yeah, and there are so many talented people in public service, and the reason why they're there, the only reason why they're there is because they're passionate about helping those people in those communities, because they're always doing more for less in general, from the projects, from the budgeting, from the staffing perspective, but from every perspective. So we just hope that public sees that we're hearing them, we're working hard for them, and we're just doing more for less all the time. But there are other factors that they don't see to what we do, that sometimes does not make it the easiest thing to do,
Yeah.
to make it happen the way they want it to be.
Okay. Okay. All right. I always like to leave a space on the show for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey. And then I want you to give a word of inspiration and motivation to your fellow assistant public works director counterparts across the country?
Well, I was lucky. I had a lot of good mentors and good leaders that inspired me throughout my career, and some of which I can mention definitely is a leader that's named Marissa Sanchez. She is who I worked for with the Dallas Airport System. She's one of those that really believed in me and wanted me to, be forward and do what I do. And she was very supportive. She became a friend and a sister. She's currently she's currently the chief of development for the Ontario Airport in California. She's always asking me to go there, to move to California. And I'm like,
You'd
okay,
like it
maybe
out there.
one day, maybe one day. But the other person I can mention is Majid. Majid El Ghafri is, I've worked with him when I was with the city of Dallas. And during my time with Public Works and even with aviation, he was the assistant city manager. And currently, he's the city manager for the city of DeSoto, another neighboring city on the best southwest. Those are the best southwest is Duncanville and DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and Lancaster. Yes, they're part of the best southwest cities, so we work closely together to some extent. I still call him when I need a word of wisdom. So he also one of those that was very supportive throughout my career. And honestly, I just don't want to forget anyone because I have several of them and I continue to find me mentors. I do believe that we just need to learn and get inspired and learn from our leaders and actually someone had gave me a hand and helped me throughout my career, and it's my turn now also to do it for others. And I'm giving hands and trying to teach when I can and help others grow, and that's how we all grow. So I'm
Love it.
thankful for those opportunities, and I'm sure there are more to mention.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And what do you say to those out there? They're fighting the same battles as you are. They're assistant public works directors. What do you say to keep them motivated, keep them inspired?
I just would remind them of the cause of what we do, the impact of our job. Our job is not the easiest. It's very stressful job. It's demanding. There's a lot of pressure, and it's often unfortunately almost underestimated. Public works as a department in general, some people think it's just pothole repairs, that we do, or maybe it's only related to streets, but we do much more than that. And we really keep cities operating. We just and functional in many ways, and that's a lot, and that's a huge responsibility. But I would say it's impactful and it's rewarding.
Okay. All right. Let's say I'm coming to town and I text you ahead of time. I say, Shahad, where can I go to get the best burger in Duncanville? Where are you going to send me?
Okay. Best burger, easy. In Duncanville?
Yep.
Well, I believe near Duncanville, there's some place that's called Crispy something. I'm sorry, I'm just also recently moved to Duncanville, so you gotta remember that
okay.
I've recently moved to working for Duncanville, so I'm not very familiar with all of the places, especially that I'm working too hard that I don't even get a lunch in a lot of cases where I can just take grab a lunch somewhere nearby. So but I've tried a burger recently in Duncanville. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. Crispy something, and it did not disappoint. But if I just tell you from the DFW area in general, I can recommend maybe Hub Dottie. They have multiple locations, but I would recommend Addison, Texas. And then if you're looking for burger and a view, a good burger and a view, then I would invite you to my town where I live. It's Rockwell, east of the DFW area, and it's Rodeo Goat. Very good burger, beautiful view of the Rockwell Lake. And also, if you're looking for something different, then I would recommend a small burger place in Plano. It's called Sindbad Burger, and that one is just different. It's a Mediterranean style burger, so it's not the burger you would expect. But it's good too. So I guess you can tell I'm a foodie. So.
Gave me like 8 spots, and you can take up all my food budget. All right, Shahad, thank you for hopping on the podcast today. Thank you for sharing your wealth of information and knowledge. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Shahad, any final words before we get out of here?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much for having me on. And I would want to say that just if you're interested in knowing more about the City of Duncanville and the projects we have and all the interesting things we're doing, you can definitely follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn, check procurement opportunities on our city website, or just if you wonder, like anything that I've talked about or mentioned or upcoming project, just connect, just shoot a question, contact me, and I'm going to be happy to answer, and I'm going to be happy to connect and talk to you all, because that's what we do. We just talk to people all the time, and we enjoy doing that. So that's all. Thank you very much.
All right, Shahad. Once again, thanks for hopping on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.